My name is Rodger Koller, and this is the second episode of my podcast show. And if you hear any noise, it's because I'm driving to work. Today is a different day because I have to drive to another city. I'm here in São Paulo right now, but I've got to go to Itu. So it's another city, it's in another place. And it's going to take me a long time. I don't even know how long it takes. I've been there before, but my memory is not so good, so I don't remember how long it takes from São Paulo to Itu. But it's going to be a long time driving. I'm here by myself in my car. I was thinking, man, should I listen to music? Because it's really boring to drive for such a long time by yourself. And it's so hot here. It's so hot. And I was thinking, maybe I should listen to music. I love listening to music. But I thought again, and I've decided to make another episode for my podcast show. But it's a surprise, even for me, that I'm recording my voice right now for this. Because otherwise I would have thought of a topic to talk about, and I haven't thought of anything. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about the last thing I talked about with my friends, okay? This is my method here. When I don't know what to talk about, I just talk about whatever that I have just talked about with different people, because it's something that I've already talked about, so it's kind of fresh in my head. And the last thing I talked about with my friends was about personality. Yeah. Some people have pointed out that I've got different personalities. A student said that, my mother said that, even my girlfriend said that. I've got multiple personalities depending on the person I'm talking to. But my friends told me that it's not about my personality itself, but it's about the language. And I was confused, like, I asked my friend, what you're talking about? My friend said that. And she said that I've got different personalities depending on the language I'm using. I speak different languages, and most of the times I speak English because I work with American people, I work with British people, I work with people from Ireland and Australia all the time, you know, people that live here. So I only have to use English all the time. And when I'm teaching, I speak English too. I speak English with my students. So most of the times I'm using English, but let's say that 30% of my time I'm using Portuguese. I'm speaking Portuguese, and sometimes I've got to speak Spanish too, because I also work with some people from Mexico, and I like speaking with them in their native language because it's an opportunity for me to practice my Spanish. It's been a long time since I really studied Spanish really seriously. So for me it's good to talk to them. So I basically nowadays just use Portuguese, Spanish and English. But yeah, these are the three languages I use. And my friends who are really close to me all the time, the people who work with me, they've told me that I change my personality altogether depending on the language I'm using. And I had to agree with them. Not only does my personality change, but also my voice. I've got a completely different voice when I speak different languages, and I don't know why it happens. If you are a psychologist, please tell me why it happens. But it's true. Like, for example, this is my voice when I speak English. I've got a different voice when I speak Portuguese, and I've got a different voice when I speak Spanish. My friends have told me that when I speak Spanish, I sound like a very dramatic person. Yeah, so I've got this dramatic personality. I always go over the top when I speak Spanish, as if I were in a soap opera, and it makes sense. Actually, it made me think that maybe my personality changes because of the way that I learned the language. When I speak Portuguese, people say that I'm really quiet and reserved. It's true. When I speak Portuguese, I'm a completely different person. I'm really shy. I'm not shy. I'm not a shy person, but I'm not really talkative. I'm not so talkative as I am when I speak English. You know, when I speak English, I'm this guy. And I'm crazy. I say stupid things all the time. I joke about whatever, I crack jokes all the time. I'm really talking all the time. If you let me, I'm gonna be 2 hours just talking to myself here, because I always have lots of things to say. And I don't know, they say that I'm really witty. I really think fast, and I'm always, you know, as I said, I always crack jokes. I'm constantly speaking. I like debating in English. I like expressing my ideas in English, and I've got many friends who speak English too. But I don't have many friends who only speak Portuguese. Yeah, I've got some Brazilian friends, but all of them speak English as well, and we normally speak English when we are talking. Yeah, it's true. I hadn't thought about that before, but it's true. I've got some Brazilian friends, but we speak English. I've got my girlfriend and we speak English. I talk in English even with my mother. This is weird. And my mother is Brazilian. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that before, but it makes sense. So yeah, so when I speak English, I'm really talkative. When I speak Portuguese, I'm really reserved and shy. People think I'm shy, but I'm not really shy. It's just that I'm not talking. Like, for example, you start a debate in Portuguese. Let's say I'm talking to 3 friends and the 3 of them start talking about politics in Portuguese. I just remain silent and then I go like, oh, I don't like talking about politics. Then I don't really participate. I don't take part in the conversation. I just say that I'm not into talking about politics, and yeah, I'm that kind of person. But if these 3 guys were having that debate in English about politics, I would be talking about that too. And I would have a very heated debate about politics, because I like talking about politics. So yes, it's weird, but when I have to speak Portuguese, I just say that I don't want to take part in that. I try to keep it simple as well. I don't really use long sentences. I don't know why it happens, really. I don't know why it happens, but it does happen. If you are a psychologist, please tell me why it happens.
Please click the big red button to subscribe. It really helps me when you do that, and click the bell to allow notifications so you will never miss new videos. Thank you very much.